Well, I had to start with Korean because
Korean.
my audience is Korean.
Okay, yeah.
So let me start with Korean first, then I'll do the interview. 여러분 안녕하세요. 이번 영상을 통해서는 제가 하와이에서 네트워킹을 하다가 자주 만나는 시드라고 하는 사람을 통해서 좀 영업이 무엇인지, 그리고 어떤 종류의 비즈니스를 하고 계신지, 그리고 네트워킹이나 등등의 저희가 사업을 하면서 배울 수 있는 부분들을 조금 알아보도록 하겠습니다. So, my good friend Sid, could you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Sydney Higa, born here in Hawaii. Ex-Air Force, I spent 24 years in the military, did a lot of communications work. I worked for the government and private contractors and mainly technology.
Yeah. So we met through the networking, but he also is part of the business of a processor. But one thing that I excite the most is the Kids Cafe in Hawaii. That's the first and only Kids Cafe in the heart of this shopping center, Ala Moana Shopping Center.
And Ala Moana Shopping Center, yes. And so this Kids Cafe, it's called My Go Kids, and it's going to be catering to kids from 3 years old to 11 years old. And we're going to have activities for them such as a basketball court, rock climbing wall, dance floor, virtual surfing rooms, as well as different areas that they can do different activities. And we're going to be having people, especially if there's anybody that is teaching that would like to teach their classes there, we definitely would like to partner up with them. So if you have any specialties, such as maybe somebody teaches Korean or some kind of a Korean specialty, maybe like the musical instruments or something like that, that would definitely be something that we could have as activities in the center.
Kids Cafe, that the concept is kind of popular in South Korea, but I thought this is a great business opportunity, and these guys are doing it. So I'm kind of jealous at the same point, but I like to see like how the business flies here.
So part of it is also helping them to learn some technology.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a virtual surfing, virtual reality surfing room, and so we'll teach them the technology behind it before they can actually go and do the surfing.
Don't they have another VR room there in Ala Moana Shopping Center?
Yes, but I don't think it's going to be at the same level where you're actually teaching them about the technology before they actually go into it.
Yeah.
I think that one is more for entertainment, where they just go in there and do the virtual reality and play games and stuff like that.
It's in between JTB and Starbucks on the way to the main gate.
Between JTB and Starbucks, and then there's a vitamin shop on the other
It's
side.
a good location. I think it's going to fly up. But
plenty of parking over there.
Right. So anybody who is visiting, Hawaii, I'm going to check out with my kids anyway. But the main reason that I'm doing this interview is trying to learn his main expertise. For me, what I learned from what you've done, like outside, was networking. I've seen you like everywhere, and then doing business, networking is really important.
Very important, because the more people you know, Hawaii is such a small area. And it's very, very much face-to-face business. It's not so much where you're online and then you're doing business with them. Here in Hawaii, people like to have that face-to-face relationship. So the more you build that relationship with the people around you, the more business you're going to tend to get.
Right.
And it's really a referral type state.
Right.
So people will find out what you're doing and say, okay, yeah, I know so-and-so. That's my friend that does this. And one of the things that a lot of people from outside of the state don't realize is here in Hawaii, we tend to say, what high school did you go to? Because we only have one university, technically one large university, right? So it doesn't make sense to say, oh yeah, what university did you go to? Oh, I went to University of Hawaii. So all the high schools are kind of like that university type of a connection.
Yeah.
So you have the private schools and you have the public schools, and like I said, it's really more about who you know here in the state. And so when you're networking, you're able to meet not only those people that maybe grew up in your area of the island or islands, but you're able to also connect based on the connections that you have all the way up through school.
Right. Yeah. So another interesting that I find during the networking is it's trying to sell something, but also you get to know a lot of different people who is in different industry. So you actually see what's going on in the industry, but also at the same time, you kind of you find a way to help out each other.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really fantastic way to do business. But my main question to you was always, how could you? I mean, how did you find all that networking events? And you are hosting some of them, but
So we host some networking events, and as we invite people, we'll learn what businesses they're in, and then if they're hosting a networking event,
Mhm.
then we tend to get invited because they've already come to one of our events. So it's kind of like I said, it's like who you know,
Mhm.
and then once they know you and they like you, they
Mhm.
tend to invite you to a lot of their other events as well.
I see. Well, I mean, how
But then there's also, because Hawaii is kind of limited geographically, because we're like right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, right?
right.
We tend to have organizations that are built around the industries that are here locally.
Mhm.
So you have the hotel, HLTA, which is a hotel and lodging
That's a big
tourism
one.
association. That's big because we do a lot of tourism and stuff here. But then you have a lot of the trades.
Mhm.
So you have building industry association. You have the asphalt people, the people that build the roads and stuff. So if you're trying to do business with say construction or contractors, then there's a lot of organizations that you can network with
Mhm.
to get in touch with the businesses that you want to meet.
Right. Have you attended any BNIs?
I'm with the BNI on the North Shore right
Okay.
now.
How does it help you though, BNI?
Well, BNI is kind of it's a very structured program in that there's a set agenda.
Mhm.
So within that set agenda, you have one section where you're able to give like your elevator pitch. So it
Yeah.
helps you fine tune that elevator pitch, and then the more often you practice it in front of all the other members there, the
Right.
more comfortable you are if you see somebody that you've just met at a networking event that
Mhm.
you can relay what you're doing as far as your business goes.
So how many different networking events do you attend or host every
Um,
month?
we host our own once a month,
Once a month.
but because I am members with different organizations, I usually attend maybe about 4 to 5 a month,
Probably once a week then.
pretty much once a week.
Okay. So also another question is there's also a paid membership like networks,
Right.
and also there's also free ones,
Right.
but there's different kinds. So what's your favorite and why?
It's a mix. Some of them that are paid, like you would end up paying for your own lunch, like we call it the Mo'ili Ili Resident Managers Association,
Mhm.
and they cater to all the resident managers that manage like condominiums and
Mhm.
high-rise apartment buildings and stuff like that. So it's a very good one to meet not only the apartment
Mhm.
managers, but also the vendors that cater to
Mhm.
the condominium market.
Mhm.
So in a condominium, you're going to run into plumbers, you're going to
Mhm.
run into people that do security systems, you're going to
Mhm.
run into people that do waste management, yard services. I mean, there's all kind of things that go into a condominium.
Mhm.
So when you look at an industry, you can kind of pick out all the different things that would be related to it. And so people that are looking for a specific industry, they would be targeting those types of networking groups
Mhm.
to help build their contact list and then get to know one another. Because like I said, here in Hawaii, it's who you know. And
Yeah.
if they like you, they'll start to pass you a lot of business.
Right. That is a good segue to the sales because I mean, still the main reason we go outside to networking
Right.
is doing the business, right?
Business and making sales, making the contacts.
How did you make that transactions to? I mean, people already assume that okay, this guy's trying to sell me something, but there's gonna be any special techniques or
see,
some transactions
the
to
thing
turn
ab-
it into sales.
Yeah, the thing about doing the networking
Mhm.
is you meet a lot of people from a large number of industries.
Mhm.
Okay, so when you're networking, you you really don't want to just go out and say I'm selling this.
Mhm.
Basically, what you want to do is you want to build that relationship, and part of building a relationship is referring them to somebody that you know.
Mhm.
So if I ran into somebody that maybe is doing a brand new construction company and they wanted to do hats and shirts for their employees,
Mhm.
to be like, oh yeah, I do this, but I have a friend that can do embroidery and services for you.
It becomes a referral.
Let me put you in touch with them. By you putting them in touch
Mhm.
with somebody that you're familiar with,
Mhm.
now they're like, oh wow, he's really nice. He gave me this referral, and
Yeah.
I could really use that. You know, I needed somebody to do that.
For them, it's like a
And-
really valuable free information
Right,
of who
right.
you know.
Yes, exactly. So then it comes back around because somebody will know. Oh, yeah, he does. Like I do credit card processing as one of my lines, right?
Mhm.
So somebody will say, oh yeah, he does credit card processing. You should go see him.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that comes back around. So it's kind of like a win-win, right?
Hmm. But also interesting thing though, is you kind of touch a lot of different, the industries and products
Right.
too, right?
Yeah.
So how important is to deeply know one industry or one product well that he can declare himself as an expert? That is really important for sales, right?
Yeah, very important because a lot of times people can know
Mhm.
right away if you really don't know your product or
Right.
you're just a newbie in that line of business. Or,
Right.
Um, maybe they've already had some exposure to it, and it's like, oh, that person really doesn't know what they're talking about,
Hmm.
right? So you want to be able to make sure that you have the knowledge and you've studied up on what you're doing
Hmm.
before really going out there and making a fool of yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that's like how business works, right?
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
have to be good at something, and then
Right.
you have
Yeah.
to go somewhere. There's a lot of people there. Or
Yeah,
in your
exactly,
case, is
yeah.
meeting people. But mainly, I mean, this channel, I'm trying to share one of my expertise, which is online marketing. But we're trying to explain in business,
Mhm.
even offline and online, it's the same. But you don't do too much on online stuff, though.
Well, we because we do credit card processing, we can process credit card
Oh,
transactions
yeah.
for people that are online.
Yes, yes.
So our business really touches
Offline and
wide
online as well.
variety as well. Yeah.
Got it, got it, got it. So, I mean, probably your whole life, I mean, you've been doing the networking. Any tips for, entrepreneurs or business, entrepreneurs
I
like
mean, part of it is being very knowledgeable in the field that you have chosen,
that? Mm-hmm.
and then being very likable, I
Mhm.
guess, and trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's very important, is being trustworthy and
Sort of.
in delivering what you say you're going to deliver and stuff.
I see.
Even if you misbid something
Mm-hmm.
and it ends up that you're going to end up losing a little bit of money on it,
Mm-hmm.
you still need to follow through, make sure it's completed,
Mm-hmm.
make sure that customer is very satisfied, because that customer is just going to get you referrals later on.
Yeah.
You don't want somebody going, oh, I don't trust that person because they messed up and they left me hanging here and I had to
Mhm.
go hire somebody else to do the job. Versus if you do it and they know you went out of your way to complete it, even though you lost money, they're like, oh, he was really good. I know that he lost money on that deal,
Mm-hmm.
but I can trust him and I can refer him to somebody else.
Right. So, interestingly, in sales, it's not always the price, right?
Right. It's not always the price. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So sometimes, there's people out there that they can charge a premium
Mhm.
just because you're very competent in your field.
Right.
So a lot of times when people say, well, what's your rates? It's like, well, would you like somebody to support you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm your support,
Yeah.
right? If you want me, you're going to pay that premium.
Yeah.
If you don't want me, you can have your support from India or Pakistan or wherever. You call up and you get somebody overseas and you can't understand what they're saying.
I see.
But if you're doing business with me, yeah, I'm going to charge you a little bit more, but you get me. You can
Mhm.
call me up. So building that trust is very important.
Interesting. Knowledgeable, you have to build the trust. That's probably the most important thing. So
Yeah.
another question for you though is, if somebody never been to like a networking meeting, or somebody's kind of shy,
Right.
trying to behind the computer or behind the curtain or something,
Yeah.
any advice for those types of people?
Well, like how we do in BNI, we have basically maybe 45-second or 60-second elevator pitch that we actually get up in front of everybody, and then we describe who we are,
Mhm.
what business we're in, and then what kind of business we're actually seeking to connect with.
Mhm.
And practicing that is very important. So everybody pretty much has a computer, and
Mhm.
every computer has a word processor, so you can actually write out a little script, right? And so I've been asked to be like a substitute for a lot of the other members. So they'll send me their script, and I'll look at it and say, okay, well, this is okay, but let me add this or change it around, and then make a little bit of an emphasis on it that perhaps they can use later on,
Mm-hmm.
and then they can get feedback from everybody else that's there. So, you know, Derek Consalva.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, let's continue. Sorry.
So, telling
This-
you the story about me being a substitute for Derek Consalva over
Mhm.
his BNI. And so he gave me a little script, and I looked at it and it's like, well, yeah, he's got certain things, but let me spice it up a little bit. So he does air conditioning. So when I introduced myself for him,
Mhm.
instead of just saying, hey, I'm Derek Consalva, I said, hey, I'm cool Derek, you know, with sunglasses and stuff like that. So make him look really cool, right? So
Yeah,
cool
yeah.
is a play on air conditioning. So everybody over there got a real kick out of it. So now he's using that line for his regular talk. You know, it's 60 seconds. So he's cool Derek now. So
Derek is cool.
yeah. So
I like
the thing
him.
about it is, you know, coming up with certain things that help other people
Mhm.
brand or identify, you
Yeah.
know, who they are and what they do is kind of interesting. And just by tossing ideas around, you can give them some ideas.
That's helping each other. So, anyways, how can people find you if they need anything that I can, help you out with? Anybody who is looking for how to networking or how to be a better salesperson,
yeah,
how they can find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Sidney Higa, SIDNEY
Uh-huh.
HIGA. So they can contact me, you know, through Facebook and stuff like that. Because I know there's a lot of people that may not even be here in Hawaii, right?
Yeah,
So that's probably the easiest way.
Got it. All right, it's good to know. Thanks for your interview.
Ah, you're welcome.
All right.
Great, thanks.